Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the JISH Learn English Podcast. I'm Shaylin. In this lesson, I'm going to show you 5 steps that can help you speak more fluently in English. I know, you might have been studying English for quite a long time, maybe for 2 or 3 years, or even 5 years. And even after all that time, even after your hard work, you still can't speak English fluently. Maybe you've learned a lot of grammar and vocabulary, but when it's time to speak, you still struggle to make sentences naturally. Sometimes your mind just goes blank, and you don't know what to say next. If this sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. Many English learners feel the same way. In this lesson, we're going to talk about fluency and what you can do to change this situation and finally start speaking English with more ease and confidence. So stay with me till the end, and let's make English learning and speaking a little easier for you. Before we start, please take a moment to like the video. It really motivates me and helps the channel grow. Now, let's start by understanding the word fluency. What does fluency really mean? Sometimes when people talk about fluency, they simply mean speaking a language well. For some learners, being fluent means having a good general level of English, being able to understand, read, and write comfortably. But in reality, fluency is something more specific. Fluency means you can speak smoothly and naturally, without many pauses, stops, or long moments of hesitation. Think about it this way. When you speak in your native language, you don't stop to think about grammar or look for words. Your thoughts just flow out as speech. That smooth, natural flow, that's fluency. Now, there are 2 sides to fluency: the physical side and the mental side. The physical side is about how your mouth moves. Your lips, tongue, and jaw need to produce English sounds smoothly and quickly. For example, try saying this sentence: "She sells seashells by the seashore." If you're not used to English sounds, your mouth might move slowly, or you might get stuck. So part of fluency is training your mouth to move easily between English sounds and words. Then comes the mental side. This is about your brain. Your brain needs to quickly find the right words, connect them into sentences, and express your thoughts, all in real time. For example, if you want to say, "I wanted to call you, but I forgot," your brain has to instantly find the words wanted, call, forgot, and put them together in the right order without stopping to think about grammar rules. So to become fluent, you need to work on both sides: the mental side, training your brain to think in English, and the physical side, training your mouth to produce English sounds smoothly. When these 2 sides work together, your thoughts and your speech begin to move at the same speed. And that's when real fluency happens. Now, let's move to our first step to improve fluency. Step 1, learn the language in chunks, not in single words. Let's think about how most people learn vocabulary. Maybe you do this too. You see a new English word, you write it down, and then you write the translation in your own language next to it. Then you try to memorize it. That sounds logical, right? But here's the problem. When you learn words one by one, your brain has to work too hard. It's not the natural way we use a language. Think of it like this. It's like giving your brain a few puzzle pieces, but never showing it the full picture. You know some pieces, but you don't know how they fit together. For example, let's say you learned 3 separate words: go, market, tomorrow. You know the meanings, but when you want to speak, your brain has to stop and think, what's the correct order? Should I say, go market tomorrow, or tomorrow go market? You get confused and hesitate. Now, imagine if you had learned the whole phrase, I'm going to the market tomorrow. You don't have to build the sentence anymore. You already have it ready in your brain. That's what we mean by learning chunks instead of single words. Let's take another example. Many learners try to memorize the word hungry by itself. But when you speak, you don't just say hungry. You say, I'm hungry. I'm getting hungry. I'm not really hungry right now. See the difference? Each of these is a natural chunk of English, a group of words that often appear together. When you remember them as a whole, your brain doesn't need to think about grammar, word order, or translation. It just flows. So, to speak fluently, don't collect single words. Collect phrases and sentences, small, ready-made groups of words that your brain can use instantly when you speak. Because when we talk in real life, we don't build every sentence from zero. We connect these natural chunks together, just like native speakers do. Now, let's look at an example together.
Imagine someone asks you, "What are you doing this weekend?" Here's how you can answer quickly, without thinking too much. I'm going to see some old friends. I'm thinking of going for a bike ride. I might do some odd jobs around the house. Do you notice something? Each sentence starts with a ready-made chunk, like I'm going to, I'm thinking of, or I might. When your brain remembers these chunks, you only need to add a small ending and your sentence is ready. Let's practice that together. Take the chunk, I'm going to, and add your own ideas. I'm going to have dinner with my family. I'm going to watch some old movies. I'm going to clean my room. See? It's much faster and smoother than translating from your own language word by word. If you think in your native language first and then translate, your brain slows down. You might start saying something, then get stuck because you can't find one word, and the whole sentence stops. That's why you need to break this habit if you want to speak more fluently. Translating everything in your head will always keep your speech slow. Instead, train your brain to think in English chunks. Here's another example. Take this simple sentence. I went for a walk. Let's make a few versions. I took an exam yesterday. I cooked a spicy curry yesterday. I was lazy all day yesterday. You're not just memorizing words anymore. You're memorizing patterns, structures, and phrases. And when you do that, you make it easier for your brain to build new sentences instantly. So remember, don't learn words, learn chunks. Because when you learn English in chunks, your brain doesn't need to build every sentence from zero. It already has small sentence blocks ready to use. And that's exactly what fluent speakers do. They connect chunks naturally, without even realizing it. Now that you understand how to learn English in chunks, let's move to step 2, practice. Speaking every day, even if you're alone. There are many things you can do to improve your English. You can watch lessons, read books, listen to podcasts, and all of these are helpful.
But if your goal is to speak fluently, there's really one thing that matters most. You have to speak. That's the key. You must get out there and use the language. Talk to people, have conversations, make mistakes, and learn through real communication. Nothing else you do is as powerful as this. Think about it. Reading English will improve your reading. Listening to English will improve your listening. Writing English will improve your writing. But what about speaking? The only thing that improves speaking is speaking. Speaking English is not just an academic skill that you can learn from a book. It's a practical skill. It's like playing a musical instrument or learning a sport. You can read 100 books about swimming, but unless you jump into the water, you'll never learn how to swim. The same is true for speaking English. You can study grammar rules all day, but unless you open your mouth and practice, fluency will stay far away. So, how often should you speak? As often as possible. There's no limit. But if you want real improvement, try to speak at least 2 to 3 hours a week. That's the minimum. Of course, if you can do more, that's even better. Here's a question for you to think about. When was the last time you had a real conversation in English, not reading or writing, but actually speaking? Think about that for a moment. Now, you might be wondering, but how can I speak English if I don't have anyone to talk to? Don't worry. You have more options than you think. You can go to English classes. You can talk to experts or tourists in your city. You can join hobby groups or community events where people speak English, maybe a book club, a cooking class, or even a volunteer activity. You can also find a conversation partner online or do a simple language exchange. You teach your language and they help you with English. And remember, it doesn't always have to be about learning English directly. Anything you do in English that makes you speak English is practice. If you're watching a cooking video, repeat the steps aloud. If you're describing your day, say it out loud in English. If you're walking alone, talk to yourself in English. Narrate what you're doing. I'm walking to the bus stop. The weather is nice today. I'm thinking about what to cook for dinner. Pause for a moment and try saying that out loud yourself. I'm thinking about what to cook for dinner. Can you make your own sentence here? Try speaking it aloud. This kind of simple self-talk builds your confidence and helps your mouth and mind stay connected. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I don't have anyone to talk to, but I'm shy, but it's too difficult. And that's okay. We'll talk about those feelings in just a moment because they're completely normal and every learner goes through them. But first, just remember this one truth. Fluency grows through speaking, not through studying more books, not through memorizing more grammar, but through speaking again and again. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, speak. Because every word you say brings you one step closer to real fluency. By now, you have learned to use English in small phrases, and you have practiced speaking every day. Now, it is time for step 3, thinking in English. Many learners study English for a long time. They know grammar rules and a lot of words. But when it is time to speak, they stop or get stuck. The reason is simple. Their brain is still translating from their own language. They start a sentence in their language and then try to change it into English. This takes time, makes them pause, and sometimes they forget words.
Even if you know all the words, your mind is still a little behind your mouth. True fluency is not only about knowing words or sentences. Fluency happens when your brain thinks in English first, and your mouth just speaks. That is when speaking becomes smooth, easy, and natural. You can start training your brain to think in English in small, simple ways. Start by narrating your day in English. For example, when you are making breakfast, think or say quietly, "I am cracking 2 eggs," or "I am toasting the bread," or "I am pouring coffee into a cup." The most important thing is do not translate. Try to make the sentence directly in English. You can also describe what you see around you. Look at a chair and think, "The chair is brown and soft." Look at the window and think, "The sunlight is coming in." Start with small details and then slowly describe bigger things. This will help your brain get used to thinking in English naturally. You can also imagine small conversations in your mind. Think that you are talking to a friend. You can think, "Hello, how was your day?" and answer, "I went for a walk and listened to music. What about you?" Do this in your mind or whisper it quietly. Your brain will start forming sentences in English directly without translating. Now I want you to try this. Look around and pick one object. Describe it in 3 or 4 sentences in English. Do not translate. Try to think directly in English. Was it easy or a little difficult? This small exercise will help your mind practice thinking in English. It is important to start small. You do not need to describe your whole day. One short sentence at a time is enough. The most important thing is to practice every day. After some time, these small sentences will connect together and you will be able to talk in longer sentences without stopping. Think of fluency like a system of steps. Step 1 gave your brain small chunks of language. Step 2 trained your mouth to speak these chunks smoothly. Step 3 trains your brain to make sentences in English without translating. When all 3 steps work together, speaking English becomes easy. Your brain and your mouth will work together, and talking will feel natural. Here is a small challenge for you. For the next 5 minutes, pick a simple activity like walking, cooking, or waiting. Speak or think everything in English. Focus on thinking in English directly. After this, notice which sentences were easy and which were harder. How did it feel to think in English? The more you do this practice, the more fluent you will become. Your mouth will follow your brain naturally, and speaking will feel smooth, confident, and easy. Step 4 is about listening carefully and copying how native speakers speak. Listening is one of the most powerful ways to improve your fluency. When you listen to real English, you notice the rhythm, the stress on words, and the way sentences flow. This is something books or grammar exercises cannot teach. If you want to speak smoothly and confidently, you must listen and imitate. One of the most useful ways to do this is called shadowing. Shadowing means you listen to a sentence or phrase and then repeat it
immediately, trying to sound as close as possible to the speaker. You do not need to think about grammar or translate from your own language. Just focus on the sounds, the tone, and the speed. For example, if you hear, "I am going to the market tomorrow," you repeat it exactly the same way. At first, it may feel strange or difficult. That is normal. With regular practice, it starts to feel natural. Your brain and mouth begin to work together, and speaking becomes easier. You can start with small sentences. Take one sentence from a podcast, a video, or a conversation and repeat it 2 or 3 times. Try to copy the speed, the rise and fall of the voice, and how the words connect. For example, if a native speaker says, "I cannot wait to see you," notice how "cannot" often sounds like "can't" and how the words flow together. Try to say it the same way. You do not need to understand every word perfectly. The goal is to train your mouth and brain to speak English naturally. Here is a very practical tip. You can take my podcast every day and imitate what I am saying. Pause after each sentence and repeat it aloud. Try to copy the pronunciation, the flow, and even the feeling or emotion in my voice. This is a very simple exercise, but it will help you speak more confidently and naturally over time. You can also practice with movies, shows, or songs. Listen to a line, pause, and repeat it exactly as the speaker says. For example, if a character says, "It is a beautiful day, let us go outside," repeat it, paying attention to how they stress certain words and how the sentence flows. Even repeating just one line a few times every day will make a big difference. Slowly, your mouth will learn to speak automatically, and your sentences will start to flow naturally. Another idea is to record yourself while shadowing. Play a short audio, repeat the sentence, and then listen to yourself. Compare it with the original speaker. Notice if the rhythm or stress is different. Little by little, your pronunciation and flow will improve.
Listening and imitating is not just an exercise. It is a powerful tool to train your brain and mouth together. When you shadow and copy native speakers regularly, your speech becomes automatic. Your sentences flow smoothly. Your voice becomes confident. And slowly, speaking English will feel easy and natural. Now, we have reached our last step for today's episode. Step 5 is about bringing English into your daily life in many ways. This step is different from the others. It is not just about memorizing phrases, speaking alone, thinking in English, or copying a native speaker. This step is about making English a natural part of your life so that the language becomes familiar, comfortable, and effortless. Start by changing your environment slowly. You can set your phone, computer, and apps to English. Watch movies, shows, or YouTube videos in English, and listen to English music or podcasts while you do simple tasks. The goal is not to understand every word at first. The goal is to let English surround you, so your brain begins to recognize patterns, sounds, and phrases automatically. Over time, your mind starts thinking in English naturally, even without effort.
You can also use English in small real-life situations. For example, when you go shopping, try saying your shopping list in English before you go. When you cook,
describe the steps in English aloud. When you walk outside, describe what you see. The tree is very green today, or the sky looks clear. These small actions do not feel like studying. They make English a part of your everyday life, and this is what builds lasting fluency. Another idea is to combine English with your hobbies. If you like sports, follow English videos or podcasts about your sport and repeat key phrases aloud. If you like art, explain your drawings or sketches in English to yourself or someone else. If you like reading, try reading a short story in English and then summarizing it aloud in your own words. When English becomes connected to something you enjoy, it stops feeling like work, and learning becomes natural and fun. You can also connect with people through English. Even small conversations with strangers, online friends, or classmates can make a big difference. Ask questions, share your thoughts, or describe your day in English. You do not need long conversations. Short, simple interactions are enough if you do them regularly. Over time, your brain will get used to responding automatically in English.
Try this today. Pick one activity, cooking, walking, or reading, and describe it in English aloud. For example, I am making tea, or I am walking to the park. Notice how it feels to use English naturally. You can also write a few lines in a diary or on your phone in English. Share one small sentence in the comments if you want. Small steps every day build big results over time. Step 5 is about living English, not just studying it. When English surrounds you in daily life, your ears, eyes, mouth, and brain all work together. You start noticing words and phrases automatically. You speak more confidently. You make fewer pauses. Slowly, English becomes a natural part of who you are, not something separate that you study. This is the final piece of the fluency puzzle. By making English a daily habit, you connect all the other steps, chunks, speaking, thinking, and shadowing into real-life fluency. So, these were the 5 steps to improve your English fluency. First, you learned how to study English in chunks, using phrases and sentences instead of individual words. Then, you practiced speaking every day, even if you were alone, to make your mouth comfortable with English. Next, you trained your brain to think in English without translating from your own language. After that, you listened like a native and shadowed speakers, copying their pronunciation, rhythm, and tone. Finally, you brought English into your daily life, making it a habit and using it in real situations so it becomes natural and effortless. Remember, fluency does not happen overnight. It grows step by step with patience, practice, and consistency. Start small, practice regularly, and over time, you will notice your English becoming smoother, more confident, and natural. Every small effort you make brings you closer to speaking English fluently. If you liked this episode, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and family who need to hear this. I will come back soon with another valuable lesson to help you improve your English. Until then, keep learning, keep practicing, and most importantly, take care of yourself. I hope you enjoy your journey to English fluency. See you all soon. Bye-bye.